Welcome back to my channel. You might be wondering what's up with my outfit and the change in filming location since I'm not in my filming room like usual, but today we're taking a little trip down memory lane to 2010 when I made my first Woozen, and it was a 4-player account at that. Granted, I've had to move accounts a lot since then, most of those being that I outgrew the names, and this was like way before you could pay to change your name every year. But before I go through my first Woozens, I wanted to go to a few places that reminded me of old times. I'm standing outside of the store that I would beg and beg my parents to let me get VIP for, Z Chic. I was very gently denied the VIP since I had already gotten a very lengthy Club Penguin membership around the same time, as well as a Webkinz or two for my birthday earlier that month. So I most definitely do not blame my parents for saying no. This store doesn't work anymore, sadly, and that's the case for a lot of old Woozworld units, but as a history major, I thought it would be fitting to try to go to as many of these relics as possible, and hopefully the nation's revamping projects won't take these gems from us. On the subject of my outfit, however, I would have absolutely never had enough woos to buy this outfit. Maybe the shoes, but the cutie with makeup face, the freckles tattoo, and the tube top, out of the question. Those tattoo and makeup kiosks were the bane of my existence, and looking back, the closet function was probably one of the best innovations in New Woozworld. This outfit's also according to my current color codes, but trust me, you'll see once we get to my 4-player account, 10-year-old me did not have any sense of style. I was on people's blogs looking up the hex codes for hot pink, hot green, hot blue. I think you get the gist. Feel free to comment below with any of your favorite memories from the old days, or if you haven't been playing Woozworld for that long, what are some of your favorite changes or updates in most recent years? But with that out of the way, let's get rolling. The first units that I want to showcase are probably my favorite part of the 2010s on Woozworld, and that was the HarperCollins x Woozworld collaboration. Now, if you weren't here for that era, Jenny Woos essentially held a book club, and fairly frequently there would be around 5 new books for you to click and collect. Sometimes mazes and quizzes would be involved, and then you would drag them into the bookcases that you earn, and you'll see that a little later in some of my photos. The best part was that you could actually access the books and read about 5 chapters worth before it cut you off, which would by that point hopefully incentivize you to purchase a couple of the books. I actually did this. It got me into the Series of Unfortunate Events series, and I'm sure that plenty of other kids also found books and series that they cherished just as much thanks to this collab. And that's one thing I think that should be brought back in the future if they're up for it. The Books and Games Lounge and the units that were associated with these releases would often be themed around one or more of the books. For example, the Seekers series was set in the Arctic, and you could collect furniture of the bears that were in the series. The Series of Unfortunate Events launches had the outfits of the 2 oldest siblings that you could wear. And then one of my favorites, there was a book set in China where you could adopt a dragon. That was back when Woo Pets were new, and they were not called besties back then, believe it or not. But having a dragon was just pretty cool. However, most of these units, and even some of the quizzes and mazes created for them, are now completely lost, privated. And this message pops up whenever you try to go to them, which actually kind of breaks my heart. And my absolute favorite was the Musketeers Castle, which incorporated wuzzles and books. Wuzzles were puzzles on Woozworld. If you weren't familiar with them. Royalty and history are probably some of my favorite special interests, so this led to me making some of my closest friends over the years in Woozworld roleplay communities. Here you can see me meeting Jay Woos while I am dressed in one of the musketeer dresses and hairs, and I think this was during Mermaids vs. Pirates, but this era had me in a chokehold. Now here I am when I first got into the Royal Roleplay community, and this is the other girl outfit that you could make with the musketeer wuzzles. You could also make the castle itself, which I was just obsessed with, trying to complete it on all of my accounts. I think at this point I had been adopted into a royal family, so you can see my god-awful red and gold color code, which I graduated to from the neons, and this photo was from around 2013 or 2014. Future editing me found this unit while I was editing, and I added it to my favorites, and I thought I should add it in here before I show my 4-player account because I thought it was so cute. This is a museum of Woozworld history, and as you can see, it has a bunch of tags explaining different aspects of old Woozworld. So here's pictures of the original 4 Wooz band. You can see it talks about Jenny and Max being married, although it doesn't mention that Jay and Maya dated, so this was probably made before then. And by those 2 couches, you can see the Beaks tree plant, which came with every new unit originally, along with a gift box. Over here, this tag says that Woozworld used to be called Kids Studio, and that was sadly before my time playing. It says that Woozworld used to have the same poses for boys and girls, but after that I actually had someone who pretended to be a girl to be my daughter back when adoption centers were really popular. But I logged on one day and they were dressed as a guy, and I noticed that their hand wasn't posed on their hip, so that's how 2010 me learned that someone might be catfishing. So I would always check to see what their pose was, and this has actually changed since then, so now you can select whatever pose you want your Woozen to present as through your profile. Back in Kids Studio, you could be any color, not even limited to red and yellow and blue, but now with VIP, you can still be pretty much any color so long as you have VIP. I don't recall this one about Woos and Beaks being called gold and silver, but it could still be from before my time playing, so that's probably what it is. I am not sure what this entry is referring to, but maybe it means our inboxes. I'm not sure. Instead of hot friends, there were buzz followers. I do remember this vividly, and that's because on my 4-player account, I switched accounts pretty much right when Woozen was introduced, as well as albums, and so I never had Woozen on there. I never had hot friends on there, but I did have buzz followers, but that system got phased out for hot friends, which I like a lot more. Trade didn't exist for 2 years. I remember this, and you used to be able to trade money. Did not end well. I got scammed once because a guy told me he could double my woos if I put 9999 in the woos part of the trade and then confirmed it. But what actually happened was it would take your woos up to 9999, and I only had about 150 at that time that I had saved up. So you can imagine it was pretty devastating to younger me. Never saw that guy again. Makeup and tattoos, even changing your eye color was so hard to do because you just couldn't remove them until you paid to change them again. I think one time I made my eyes red as a prank, and it was stuck on red eyes until I could afford to change them back. So that was mortifying. Now it's just so easy to remove tattoos and change your cosmetic appearances with the closet, which I stand by is still one of the best ever updates ever. The best. The system swipe, I remember I deleted our friends list, I think, and I had to re-add most of my friends. But as a reward, they gave us those giant bobblehead versions of the Wooz band, as well as Wooz for our troubles, which was nice. The Four Nations, these are still pretty iconic. They've been slowly updating in the past 2 years, but I still think the original Woozworld Mall, Lib Street Avenue, and the entirety of Mystic Alley, I will definitely miss. And I wish they had kept those units public and then just kind of unlinked them, but you could still search them. That, I think, would have been better than what we have now. But I do like some of the art changes and like the stylistic changes that they've done. The emos list, that has definitely changed over the years. And just recently, they updated it with holiday editions and kind of like a new art style, which I'm not a big fan of, but that's another story. The moves, also iconic, like the fairy wand and the light strike blaster everybody used as a gun, which was hilarious. There was originally no way to advertise from the chat bar, but they did add it eventually, and you still can. You just select what unit you want to advertise. There was also a tab called Events, and it looked like a calendar, and that's pretty similar to what we have now. But VIP events would show up at the top, so you're incentivized to buy VIP. Now we have the addition of categories, Hot Now, VIP owned units, co-hosting, guest list. So things have come pretty full circle. This was allowed again, but there was a time where saying certain names or usernames got banned because people would abuse the function and just spam people's usernames. I actually dug up a photo from one of my other accounts when someone did this in a store. My username at the time is the one, you see it like halfway down, starts with A00 Ella. But this person was just spamming constantly, and this was before you could kick people from your units, so that's another update that I think has been definitely for the best. This says our chat bubbles were more boxy, but now they're rounded. There was also a time that I hated when they gave us this comic book style font in chat, and it was like all caps, which was insanely annoying to me at the time. Everyone looked like they were shouting because it was in all caps. Here's a photo I took of myself, like probably 2012, mid-2013, protesting it in Colony V, which is a little bit cringe, but it's historic, and I love it. And apparently it was also during the time where trading was taken away because I'm protesting for trade to come back, so that's cute. And here is the unit the owner made that represents the Four Nations. Here is her user, I Love Penguin 64, so all credit to her. And luckily, it seems like she's still active since she has the theme profile update. And I think this is just the cutest, with all of the polar bears dressed as mascots. Like, how adorable are they? But we have Cortoza, Lib Street, Colony V, and Mystic Alley. This just, I think, perfectly sums up what old Woozworld felt like. But now let's take a look at my first ever account, and it's Woozen's. My very first Woozen was made November 22nd, 2010, and her name was LoveGirl10336. I think LoveGirl was taken, so I just chose the very first name that they suggested with numbers, and it just looks like a bunch of jumble. Not much in the inventories since I switched so frequently later down the line, but here's the bookshelves I mentioned. no longer usable, unfortunately. And in the achievements here, you can see the book awards that you would get for collecting them. My second account was Ella Too Cute, which was my main Woozen from then on. You can see there's a bit more clothing and furniture on here than the others since it was my most active, and I'm wearing only my Dead Mouse ears from Winterfest. There's my Gems Catchers gear, Light Sprite Fairy shoes, Timekeepers, other events. Here's the unit that you could win. I used it to host top model, fashion shows, other events. And this is the Liesel and Poe train station, which you could make with Wuzzles. And then finally, here's my memory room, where I kept all of my trophies and non-transferable stuff from this account. Here's the Woozband themed awards, quiz and book awards, New Year's 2012, a candy machine that used to give you lollipops, the blaster and wand that you could also do moves with, other book themed items. There's the Lion Aslan from the Chronicles of Narnia series. And here is the poster for Jay's Winterfest party with Dead Mouse, which is coming up on its 11th anniversary, wow, on January 14th, so that's insane, so close. Some more achievements here, most the same, but you can see the Buzz followers I mentioned at the Woozworld History Museum from earlier, Maya's handbags, Jay's caps, the original Woo Pets training badges, Wuzzles, and my neon dragon, Lucy. This is the only photo that I could find of me from this time, right before moving to a new account that wasn't my 4-player. This account is Superstar 8. It was my third account, I believe, and I made it for my middle sister to play on, but neither of us really ended up using it. I think I won a limo unit, you can see, and I got it like for the cleaning station that I won, and that was to clean up food from tables, which was pretty much all that I used it for. And then finally, the last of my 4-player account was AwesomeBro22. It was a male Woozen that a friend from my neighborhood had made because his mom wouldn't let him sign up with her email, and I had one spot left. He ended up quitting and making his own email to get an account because we realized pretty quickly that we couldn't play at the same time since it was a 4-player, and it would always log one of us out if the other was playing. Here's his dragon Zuko, named like from Avatar: The Last Airbender. I tested out the Besties quest on this account, which is where Ziggy the dog is from. And you can see the Wooskers items, as well as the certificate that you get for doing like the new Woozen tutorials, and the brats cut out there in the corner. The 4-player account was really, in retrospect, a very short part of my life on Woozworld. Only about 2 years that I spend on Ella Too Cute. So now I'm going to show you some photos across my other eras on Woozworld. So before my red and gold era that I showed pretty briefly earlier, I went through a neon era and also a Jenny Woo's era. I think I just connected to her the most because reading was such a large part of my personality. Like, if I wasn't online, I was reading, or I was probably at school finishing my work as quickly as possible just so that I could start reading again. Here is Jenny and Max's wedding, and I was probably so far back in the queue that it lagged me out because this is the only photo I have. I have no photo of the actual ceremony, which heartbreaking. After their wedding, however, they had a honeymoon, and here's Jenny at the Wooskers answering someone's question about how it was. I'm telling you, if Jenny Woos has 100 fans, I'm one of them. If she has one fan, it's me. If she has no fans, I am dead. She was just simply that great. Here you can see the mixing of my Neon and Jenny eras. You can see exactly why I hated the tattoo and makeup kiosks, because I was just stuck with this star tattoo for the longest time before I had enough money to choose a different one. You can also see from this photo that it was in the era of Woo Pets, and I must have shelled out so much money for that poodle, because good lord, were pets a handful to buy and train. And I'm like 90% sure that I named her Fifi, because that's what 11-year-old me would do, is I would name it Fifi. And notice the dog. Also, Jenny Woo's color-coded, which I guess pink is pretty fitting for a poodle, so I have that at least. And then on my 12th birthday, so that'd be my second anniversary on Woozworld almost, you can tell from the colors of the balloons in the room that I had a Jenny Woos themed birthday party. I think I was actually insane. In the left-hand corner, you can see 2 inflatable sleds. Those were from a book release. I think it was like Big Nate, possibly. And oh my god, it's Jenny and Max color-coded. Was I actually more insane than I remember? I think it's possible. It gets worse though. Here's the library I built as a tribute to Jenny Woos, a Jenny Woos themed school. And there in the corner, you can see my Jenny Woos colored bookshelves. And this was like right before I changed accounts and made a new one, because 2 of my real life friends at the time also wanted to like change their usernames. And I was like, I guess I will too. So here they are. I, for some reason, tried to color my hair brown, and it looks green. Like what? But still the same neons, you can see, phasing out the Jenny colors. And then the 2 girls next to me are 2 sisters who had moved to my school earlier that year, and we would spend our entire summers on Woozworld. One of them has kids now, and the other just recently got engaged. So time is actually flying, and it is terrifying, but it's amazing. I'm so happy for them. The older sister and I had a talk show that she recorded with like Screencast-O-Matic or something, and I cannot for the life of me find the videos anymore, but I know that they were on YouTube at one point, and they ended up moving not that long afterward, which also kind of crushed me since they were the only other neighbor kids around my age at that time. It was at this point that I got into the Percy Jackson book series, and you'll see my style does a complete 180. This is the first Camp Half-Blood. I think it's created, I'll double check, either Melissa Mess or Hannah Mess created it, and the people at this camp I bonded with over the books, as well as just like Greek and Roman mythology in general. And it was at this time that I started role-playing there in my free time. The Ella era was gone now, and I tried to go by Persephone, like the goddess of springtime Persephone, for a little bit of a Lore Olympus moment, if you guys read that webtoon, before it was popular, I guess. But here I am with the orange Persephone hair, while I was literally meeting Maya Woos. That is like my biggest style embarrassment moment ever, because why did I flop so badly at a photo op with Maya? Shortly after that, though, I dropped the Persephone shtick and started role-playing as Annabeth Chase from the Percy Jackson series, and that was my personality for like years on Woozworld, so much so that people still refer to me as Anna sometimes. That is not my name at all, but that's how like strong the personality was, I guess. Here is the friend group I had. You can see my hair is now gold and my eyes are gray to match the character, but her hair is actually supposed to be blonde, like a light blonde. So why I chose to make it gold, I could not tell you. Could not tell you. Could not. I also got introduced to the Vampire's Crypt social circle at this point, and you can see I'm on the stairs. Still rocking gold hair, but now I've adopted a red color code. This would stay for quite a while. It legitimately looks like McDonald's, does it not? After this point, and for most of 2015, one of my friends from the crypt social circle passed away. And this is one of my only photos with her, and she was pretty much the only reason that I was still playing Woozworld at that time. And without her, it just kind of didn't feel like I had a reason to be playing anymore. Since the Roleplay community at that point had just kind of lost its charm, and the other social circles, people were just aging out, and I was still only like 14 at that time, so it just sort of felt like the weird middle stage before high school that you just kind of wonder, why am I still on this game? And then I had that answered for me. In the summer of 2016, I was approached by someone who I still talk to on Woozworld on occasion, and he got me interested in rejoining the Royal Roleplay community, with a lot of the original members still there. Some of them that I hadn't even met before. Here's a photo of the very first Christmas I spent with the group, and I can say with complete certainty that I had some of the best moments from my time on Woozworld with this group. But also, sometimes a lot of not so great moments. Trolls would crash events constantly, interpersonal conflicts, and just people growing distant or becoming less active eventually led to a lot of people leaving for one reason or another. I still talk to 2 people in this picture regularly, and in this one I've kept in touch with about 2 others, one of whom is actually married as of a couple months ago, and you've probably already noticed by this era that I had changed to wearing very dark reds and black hair. My only other photo with Maya is here, funny enough, also during Mermaids vs. Pirates, which I think that's hilarious given my only photo with Jay was for the same event, just years apart. And this is from the same community pretty much a while later, right when I had to change to my current account. All of these people have played such integral parts in my life, and I'm eternally grateful that Woozworld was how I was able to make these friendships in the first place, even the friendships that have become distant or non-existent with time in aging. I never had a chance with my 4-player account to take photos, since Woozen and albums didn't exist by then. But on one of my accounts, I found this photo that I took of the very first outfit that I ever wore when joining Woozworld, minus the tattoo and eye color, obviously. I have changed a lot over the years, and I've had a lot of different interests, social circles. I often took breaks to play other games or do things in real life that sometimes made me forget that the game existed at times. But now in 2023, more than ever, I'm just grateful for the friendships I have and continue to make thanks to this game. And I hope that in the new year, you all experience the same positive growth and make even more friends, because I couldn't ask for a better community than this. This video, if you have watched this far, is incredibly long. I'm gonna guess over 20 minutes before editing, and I apologize for that, but I just wanted to make up for having no December upload, and to also apologize in advance that I probably won't have another upload until February, probably before or around Valentine's Day. It's gonna be a speed build, that much I can tell you in advance, and I think it'll be a nice change of pace given how many long-form videos I've been doing lately and kind of heavier material content-wise than most of you are probably expecting of me. So with all that being said, I hope you all have an amazing start to your 2023, and as always, feel free to like, subscribe, comment your New Year's resolution if you made one, or if you haven't made one yet, what are you thinking? And I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.